Hello, thank you for joining me for this week's First Chapter Friday. Today I will be reading from the beginning of James McBride's The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. Chapter 1, The Hurricane. There was an old Jew who lived at the site of the old synagogue up on Chicken Hill in the town of Pottstown, Pennsylvania. And when Pennsylvania state troopers found the skeleton at the bottom of an old well off Hayes Street, the old Jew's house was the first place they went to. This was in June of 1972, the day after a developer tore up the Hayes Street lot to make way for a new townhouse development. We found a belt buckle and a pendant in the well, the cop said, and some old threads from a red costume or jacket. That's what the lab shows. They produced a piece of jewelry, handed it to him, and asked what it was. A mezuzah, the old man said. It matches the one on the door, the cop said. Don't these things belong on doors? The old man shrugged. Jewish life is portable, he said. The inscription on the back says, Home of the greatest dancer in the world. It's in Hebrew. You speak Hebrew? Do I look like I speak Swahili? Answer the question. You speak Hebrew or not? I bang my head against it sometimes. And you're Malachi, the dancer, right? That's what they say around here. They say you're a great dancer. Used to be. I gave that up 40 years ago. What about the mezuzah? It matches the one here. Wasn't this the Jewish temple? It was. Who owns it now? Who owns everything around here? The old man said. He nodded at the immense, gleaming private school seen through the dim window, the Tucker School. It sat proudly atop the hill behind wrought iron gates, with smooth lawns, tennis courts, and shiny classroom buildings, a monstrous bastion of arrogant elegance, glowing like a phoenix above the ramshackle neighborhood of Chicken Hill. They've been trying to buy me out for 30 years, the old man said. He grinned at the cops, but he was practically toothless, save for a single yellow tooth that hung like a clump of butter from his top gum, which made him look like an aardvark. You're a suspect, they said. Suspect, he said with a shrug. He was well north of 80, wearing an old gray vest, a rumpled white shirt holding several old pins in the vest pocket, a wrinkled tallit around his shoulders, and equally rumpled old pants. But when he reached inside his pants pocket, his gnarled hands moved with such deftness and speed that the state troopers, who spent most days ticketing tractor trailers on nearby Interstate 76 and impressing pretty housewives during traffic stops with their bubblegum lights and stern lectures about public safety, panicked and stepped back, their hands on their weapons. But the old man produced nothing more than several pins. He offered the cops one. No thanks, they said. They milled around for a while longer and eventually left, promising to return after they pulled the skeleton out of the well and studied the potential murder scene some more. They never did, though, because the next day, God wrapped his hands around Chicken Hill and wrung his last bit of justice out of that wretched place. Hurricane Agnes came along and knocked the power out of 4 counties. The nearby Schuylkill River rose to a height of 7 feet. To hear the old black woman of Chicken Hill tell it, white folks was jumping off the rooftops in Pottstown like they was on the Titanic. All those fancy homes down there were swept away like dust. That storm killed everything it touched, drowned every man, woman, and child that came near it, wrecked bridges, knocked down factories, tore up farms. That thing caused millions in damages. Millions and millions. That's white folks' language. Millions and millions. Well, for us colored folks on the hill, it was just another day of dodging the white man's evil. As for the old Jew and his kind that was on this hill, they got all their time back from them that stole everything from them. And the Jew lady they wronged, Miss Trona, she got her justice too. For the King of Kings fixed her up for all the good things she done, lifted her up and filled up her dreams in an instant, and only the way he can. That evil fool who called hisself son of man, he's long gone from this country. And that boy Dodo, the deaf one, he's yet living. They put that whole camp up there in Montgomery County, now on account of him, the Jews did. Theater owners they was, God bless 'em. And them cops and big-time muckety-mucks that was running behind them Jews for the body they found in that old well, they can't find a speck against 'em now, for God took the whole business. The water well, the reservoir, the dairy, the skeleton, and every itty-bitty thing they could have used against them Jews, and washed it clear into the Monotony Creek. And from there, every single bit of that who shot John nonsense got throwed into the Schuylkill, and from there it flowed into the Chesapeake Bay, down in Maryland, and from there out to the Atlantic. And that's where the bones of that rotten scoundrel, whose name is not worthy to be called by my lips, is floating to this day, at the bottom of the ocean, with the fish picking his bones and the devil keeping score. As for old Malachi, the cops never did find him. They came back for him after the hurricane business died away, but he was long gone. Left a sunflower or two in the yard, and that's it. Old Mr. Malachi got off clean. He was the last of 'em, the last of the Jews round here. That fellow was a wizard. He was something. He could dance, too. Lord, that man was magic. Muzzle tov, honey. And if you would like to know what happens at the rest of this book, you can check it out on the Libby app. Please join me here next week as I read from the beginning of this month's book club selection, Colton Gentry's Third Act by Jeff Sentner. Thank you and have a great week.